Hello, and welcome to the Common Geeking program. We are a book club style podcast where each episode we discuss a different topic from our own geeky and nerdy perspectives. I am your host, Jeff Leavitt, and this week we are going to be talking about the puzzle game, I guess you'd call it, Baba Is You. And I am joined this week by just one friend. Today we're going to have a little bit of an intimate conversation, just close quarters, just the two of us. Who are you?
A lot of hand-to-hand combat here.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, when you say close quarters, my immediate thought goes to hand-to-hand combat.
Who are you, my friend?
Hi. Taeemul is Chowder. Chowder is Taeemul.
God damn it.
Chowder is also Win.
Whatever is you prefer. Or I guess it'd be you prefer is whatever. That fucking probably sounded like gibberish to you. I promise you're not having a stroke. It'll all make sense in a few minutes. But we're going to start off by summarizing this little game and then talk about it and go into the ratings where we'll talk about how we felt about it. But you ready to jump on into the summary? All right, Chowder, you brought this to me, so why don't you take lead on the summary?
All right, Baba Is You is a puzzle game created by... Man, I'm going to butcher this name. R.B. Teikari. It was originally made for a game jam and expanded into a bigger actual game. It was released in 2019 for the PC and Nintendo Switch. Baba Is You is a puzzle game all about manipulating the rules. You have these text blocks that you can push around in a tile format, and you can use those text blocks to form commands. So, say you have the texts flag is and you, or flag is and win. You can have the text form flag is win and have it so that the flag lets you win the stage. Or you can have it spell out flag is you and have the flag be you, the playable, be able to control the flag. If
right.
That makes sense.
So, like, the default thing for most of the levels is Baba is you, and then, right, so you've got that, and then you have something along the lines of flag is win, or wall is stop, or rock is push, and then if, depending on how the level is laid out, those commands you can manipulate, so you can, like, change it to, like, one of my favorite ones, the way that you win is you change it to wall is you, and then you just move all of the walls until they reach the flag.
Yeah.
It's also neat, like, when you push off the block, whatever block is you, and, like, there's no longer an anything is you command, it's like, I mean, like, you can't move, obviously, but it's just, like, it turns on this, like, limbo sort of like creepy outer space music that I don't know if you could call it music.
Wind blowing, but
yeah. But it's just like, ooh, I don't like that. You know, it sort of feels like you're, I don't know. It feels like you're kind of like,
you've ceased to exist.
Yeah, you don't exist. You're not real.
But thankfully, you can just Z button it and like have it done.
Oh my god, the game, I think I would have fucking just stopped playing this game if you didn't have that reverse command and you just had to start over every time you screwed up. Because I also just, like, using a joystick on the Switch to control, you know, like, 4 directionals means that I screw it up a lot. So, like, if I had to start over every time I pushed some block into a corner or accidentally walked into a death block, that it'd be so irritating.
Yeah, and it's humorous for me. I play this game on the PC, and, like, you know, the Z button is normally what you use as the undo button for a lot of, like, drawing programs and also word writing programs. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It just, like, amuses me that it's, like, that I'm constantly hitting undo in this game.
Yeah, and like that makes me think about the other thing I want to talk about is like the whole game basically like it uses coding logic.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes it so fascinating as a puzzle game, right? Like it's basically baby's first coding.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, God, fucking. If a baby could handle this game, then I feel real bad because it's hard.
Well,
But,
I'm sure a baby can handle the early levels.
yeah, the early levels for sure. But yeah, no, because it's like basically you're just creating if-then statements the entire time, and like I won't pretend to know anything really about coding, but like from what little experience I've had, like it definitely feels like it follows that logic. And there's something neat also about like having the commands be the only thing that really builds up the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
sort of like this is a weird fucking pull to compare it to, but it reminds me of like Little Big Planet in that like there's like a really intense stage builder in Little Big Planet, the PlayStation game, and all the campaign levels are basically made up of the same tools and like things that are used to that like you have access to in the stage creator, if that makes sense. So it's sort of like like if you wanted to, you could literally recreate like the entire campaign levels just from the stage creator. And I don't know if this game has any sort of like stage creator, but it would be really cool because like the levels are so simply built, there's like a variation of like 10 objects and like 15 commands or something like that, generously.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And it's just like the game is all about like manipulating its own rules. So you're taking like it's hard to explain, but I totally get what you're saying. You're taking taking the game and like changing it to your will, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Because it sort of feels like the game has set up what the commands do and what the objects are, and like basically what the objects are when you take away the commands are all just like textures. Like there's no difference between Baba and Kiki and rock and wall. They're all just things that exist within the world, except for maybe water. I noticed on the first water level that it just said that Baba is sink, but it never said anywhere that the water was the thing that would be sinking you. You just would intuit that. But that way, the water block works slightly differently.
The sink command just means if it comes in contact, you sink. Or if you come in contact with anything, you sink.
Oh, with anything? Oh, okay, I see. So, like, the water in that level just was the only thing that you could walk over because everything else was push or stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That makes more sense. So, it was... Okay. No, okay, that's fair. So, yeah, then basically what I was saying is true. Is, like, every block is just a texture. Like, there's no difference between any of the individual things, right? So, basically, it's just built up entirely of the commands. I lost my train of thought. I had a point to make with that sentence, but I don't remember what it was. Like, basically, I guess I'm saying is, like, it sort of feels like there's something kind of neat about playing a game that feels like you could have completely built it yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, because the only thing that the game really provides you with are, like, the designed layouts and the functions of each of the code blocks, right?
Right.
So, like, apart from that, it feels, it feels like when you're playing the game, you're getting down to the very roots of, like, what made the game, which is the same thing that I feel in, like, Little Big Planet, right? Is that, like, you play all these levels and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then you see the stage creator and you're like, oh, I could have built that. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing that the game provides you with is, like, what all the individual items and things do and the rules that you have for placing them, and then the entire game is built upon that system.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something to the core of this that I can't quite explain.
No, I get what you mean. Like, I fiddle around in RPG Maker, and there's something kind of fun about just, like, and not even making something per se, but in just fiddling around with RPG Maker, seeing what makes it tick and what just... Yeah.
Like, I've never played Mario Maker, but I assume that Mario Maker feels a little bit like this as well, because, like, if you take the original Super Mario Brothers game, it's like, It's a variation of like 10 enemies and like 4 different kinds of blocks and Mario, and that's pretty much it, right?
No,
so
there's an entire community built around just hacking the Mario games and just using their sprites and tiles to make your own weird, bizarre levels.
Yeah, but that's basically what Mario Maker is, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. But like this predated Mario Maker.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they're like, well, people are doing this anyway, we might as well make it a profitable game.
Yeah, exactly. Something I also like about Baba Is You is it gives you the freedom to explore options, because like every time, I don't know, like, sorry to cut you off there, but like every time I play a level and I find the solution, I have legitimately no idea if that was the way they wanted me to do it, or if there was like some other way I could have done it, you know? Like some of them I feel like, oh, I cracked it, this is what they wanted me to do. And the other ones I feel like, I don't know if I was supposed to make myself the wall there, but it worked. Yeah, I mean, in all likelihood, they took it into account. They saw it and they already knew to like build a puzzle around it.
Yeah, because it definitely...
But the important thing is it makes you feel like you like figured it out on your own.
Yeah, right. Because like,
developer.
There's definitely been a few levels where I've been like, oh, I figured it out, and then realized that there was like one rule in there that prevents me from doing the thing that I wanted to do, and I was like, you motherfuckers thought of that, didn't you? Because why else would that be there?
One of the most there's one level that made me feel dumb, and it's like you're in like an encased wall, and the rule outside is grass is stop, and you gotta form flag is win. But
I introduced the game to my dad the other day, and he was stuck on that level for like 5 minutes, and the exact same way that I was, because you're just walking around and you're like, oh, it never says wall is stop. You can just walk outside the wall.
And you just walk out the wall, and I'm like, God.
And the terrible thing is, like, I realized that early on, and I was, like, walking around the walls to try to manipulate the grass's stop wall, but I wasn't thinking that, like, because up in the corner, it's, like, the Baba Is You thing is in, like, a corner of the wall, which you can walk straight through, and I was thinking, even after I figured out that I could walk through the wall, I was still like, no, I can't move that. It's in a corner. I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. I already knew you could walk through the walls. That's just sitting out in floating space.
Yeah, it's just like, this game has a way of making you feel brilliant, but also stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, you get the insight like, aha, that's it. That's the solution. And I'm like, how did I not realize this earlier?
Yeah.
And like, you know, I code as well. I do programming, and it's like, that is exactly the experience of programming, where you're just staring at a wall of text for maybe hours, and then you're like, fuck, that's a typo.
Yeah.
That's why the whole thing ain't working.
Oh, man. If this game fucking introduced typos into its thing, that would be real fun.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I really like a lot of the earlier levels, too. They're basically just, like, you know, showing you the point of the game, right? Because, like, one of my favorite things is, like, I think it's, like, level like, 2 and 3 or something like that. 2 of the, like, earliest levels, like, are the exact same thing, except all the items are swapped around.
Yeah.
Like, it's the exact same layout, and it's just like, oh, you've got walls, and there's a flag, and you're Baba, right? And you basically just have to turn off the wall is stop, and then you can go and get the flag and make flag is win. And then the level right after it is wall is you, and there's just one block of wall, and then fucking flag is stop, and all of the walls are made out of flags.
Yeah, no, the game does a good job in, like, teaching you without, like, explaining to you. It just, like, presents you with a thing in isolation, lets you understand it, and then the next one, it's the puzzle. And
yeah, because I don't know about you, but fucking level 2, like, I looked at it for a while and was like, what the fuck? Because it didn't, you know, like, level 1, it just has, you know, like, Baba is you, wall is stop, rock is push, and flag is win, right? And I wasn't realizing yet that you could move the text around. I thought that was sort of like outside the bounds of what I could do, right? So I'm like looking at this game, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I get it. You can push rocks, walls stop you and fly. And then the next level, you're just encased in walls. Next to the wall is stop command. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? Is there a secret door somewhere? And then I like moved the text and I was like, oh, that's what this game is.
Yeah,
It's not like immediately obvious from the first level, right? Because the first level, it could just be like setting up the rules of like how all the blocks function. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like when I first started playing the game, I already knew what the deal with it was. You know,
gotcha.
So like I was actually very interested to see like what a person going. Whoa, was that your cat?
Nope, that was just a fucking fold-up chair that was leaning on a desk, and it just fell over.
Ooh,
I don't know why.
Ghost. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was interested in seeing like how a person reacts completely blind, because you know what drew me to the game is, oh dang, it's a puzzle game based around programming logic.
Yeah, see, I didn't know anything about it going in. So I saw the first level and I was like, okay, it's setting up the rules of how all the things function. I get that. And then the second level, I was just like, what the fuck? How is this already so difficult on the second level? And then I moved the text and I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was, this game. Because, like, in level 1, right, like, it might as well just be setting it up as, like, a really simple, you know, dungeon puzzle game, right? Yeah, right, like, you have to figure out how to move all the things, which it basically is, too, just with this extra twist, but...
Yeah, no, like, it takes the foundation of, basically, a puzzle game everyone is familiar with. Man, I don't actually remember the name of... But you know what I'm talking about.
No,
just
yeah,
like,
I know the kind of game you're talking about, where it just like involves pushing boxes around so that you're not pushing them into corners, and you can still. And this game still definitely has that dynamic, right, with the text blocks, but it's adds this whole extra element
that twist,
to it,
and it's great.
Yeah,
and on top of that, it's got like a cute aesthetic. Like it's all like very simple looking, but like very cute and adorable at the same time. Yeah.
So I just assume that Baba is supposed to be a sheep because its name is Baba. It just looks so much more like a rabbit, though. Not that's either here nor there. But...
I mean, it's just an oval with 2 circles and eyes. And
it's got ears.
Sheep have ears.
Fair. But I don't know. It looks like a rabbit to me. I guess when you boil it down, you know, a rabbit is nothing but a simple sheep, really.
I mean,
like if you take a sheep and you take away all the features, that's a rabbit. That's basically what you got. Right?
I mean, not exactly, because the anatomy of a rabbit, their hind legs are like.
Chowder, that was a fucking joke. You know that, right?
Yeah, but like the joke got me to start thinking about sheep and rabbit anatomy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like if you make a white blob with ears, a person is more likely to think of a rabbit or cat before they're thinking of a sheep.
Okay, that's fair. But also the pun. Yeah. Baba is you. Took me a long time to realize. Wait, you like in female sheep.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't get that till just this second, actually. I would say, I don't know, like, if we're talking points against the game, there's certainly, I mean, this could either be a good thing or a bad thing, just depending on, like, how deep you are into puzzle games, but, like, I'm getting to some levels, and I feel like I like puzzle games fairly well, but they're getting to some levels where I'm just like, I don't fucking know. Because, like, when there's some things... Like, the earlier levels I like a lot because, like, there's only a few commands, and the solution is usually simple. It just takes you a while to kind of, like, figure it out. But when you get into the later levels, you have, like, fucking, like, 10 commands, and it just takes you a second to, like, take in all of the information. Yeah, and then it's just like, oh my god, the options are, like, so limitless that I have no idea. And then you start to realize, like, how limited the options actually are. And it, like, keeps... I'm still at the point where it's... I mean, I assume it probably does this up until very late in the game, but it's still introducing new commands. Like, I just got to the the word not being included, as in you could like make things, like not rock is pushed, so you can push everything that isn't rock or whatever. And I didn't even realize you could do that. I thought you could just like say that something is explicitly not this and just like rule out that as a possibility, until I accidentally created not rock is Baba, and it changed everything in the entire stage into me.
Yeah.
Other than rocks, obviously.
Yeah, and it's just like it's definitely one of those games where you're like staring at a problem for like a really fucking long time. You leave, you get fed up, you leave, you come back another time, and you like with a fresh head, and you're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. No,
I've definitely had that experience. I've had like a few levels that I'm just like, I don't know. But it's also because I'd been playing for like a few hours to that point, so I'd already been frustrated and had like my patience worn thin. And then when I came back to it, I was just like, okay, I can figure this out. And then it works. I have had a couple levels that I've had to look up, which I feel a little bit bad about, but not that bad about.
And there's this one puzzle where it's like it's walls all around you, and there's like 3 skulls that are blocking the way out, and flag on the other side of those skulls. And if you touch those skulls, you break, but skull is defeat, yeah. And like you have only like 5 text blocks, 3 of which are Baba's you, and the other 2 is KK and push, right? Or no, not KK and push, just a text block that I can't remember at the moment, and push, right? And you're trying to. The thing is, on the other side of the skulls is also skulls defeat, and you can break the skulls defeat by like, yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah, it's rock is it's
yeah.
You
Well,
no,
this is a much
later
push, one where
right?
you have even less to work with.
Okay.
And basically,
Gotcha.
What you have to do is like create a sort of switch with the text where you can switch between Baba is you and the other thing and something else is you, and like use that to like move all 5 text boxes around and like just maneuver it so that you can eventually break the skull's defeat and just walk to the flag. It requires such a specific set of movements is the thing, because like
I know there's one later, like I hate all the ones with the move command where like basically every time you move there's something else that has the move command that also moves, but not with you, sort of like just in a line back and forth, and you have to use them to like push things across the stage, like in places that you can't go, because like it'll be like, oh, whatever is defeat, right, which affects you, but it doesn't affect the just like inanimate moving objects. And there was one of them that like I had to look up the solution, and this was like one of the times where I looked up the solution and I was like, I fucking never would have figured that out, because it involved like you had 3 guys that would push the blocks across like a death line, but it had to push it in a way that it deactivates the whatever is you for a little bit, and then pushes it in limbo, and then reactivates it.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, what the? I didn't even know you were allowed to do that. I thought once you deactivated the whatever is you block that you just lose. Like, so it was like one of those times I was like, well, I learned something new in this.
It's like you learn that like there is no real lose condition. There's like the only thing is just you're in
if you prevent yourself from continuing.
You prevent yourself from continuing, but there's no lose condition, and that's the thing.
Well, it just wigged me out because like when you do push it off of the Baba is you, after a few seconds it like says, do you want to undo or start over, which is like to me saying like, hey, you lost this one, fucking, so like it was weird that like you just have to ignore that and wait for it to reactivate, you know what I mean?
And like this is definitely a game where you're playing in short bursts, not like power gaming doing the thing, because man, your brain gets fried after a while.
Yeah, seriously. I was playing for a while yesterday just because I wanted to get a good amount of the game done before we recorded this episode. And like after like certain levels, I would just like look at it, not even think about the level, and just go, I don't know.
Which is the programming experience, honestly.
Yeah, pretty. I would not be. I would not make a very good programmer. I took like one coding class in college, and to be fair, also the professor is just like infamously awful. So like it definitely was like a turn away from programming in general. But it was just like looking at all these things. I'm like, there aren't a ton of things. Like, this might sound a little bit narcissistic, but there aren't a ton of things that I consider to be, like, totally beyond me, right? Like, there's things I don't have knowledge in, but, like, there's, you know, like, I understand it when people explain it to me. But when I look at coding stuff, I'm just like, this is way above my head. Like, I just fucking can't understand anything of what's going on.
If you can learn it if you put your mind to it for most things, but programming is, like, something that's,
Yeah. And I don't even know if, like, I actually have, like, last semester I took a class called Technology in Studio, where it was basically, like, you know, different ways that we can use technology to improve our art practices, right? And we did actually learn a program that I felt like I could have got a pretty good handle of. Yeah. But it's like a really simple program. It's nothing like a fucking coding language. Like, right. I can understand programming, but like, you know, the people who like fucking like write coding languages, I'm just like, I'll fucking never understand that shit. It definitely feels like a puzzle too. Yeah. It's just like when you can figure it out, it's very satisfying. But when you can't figure it out and you're just like stuck against a wall, it's just like,
you're like, you're slamming your head against the wall till it's bloody, and it's like, yeah, but, no. Yeah. I think we hit the end of the conversation. I mean, it's a simple game, so I think we're going to have a simple conversation about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's probably a good time to move on to the ratings section.
Yeah, boy.
All right, thank you, Chowder, for a very logical discussion. Now we are moving on to the rating section, where each of us is going to rate the topic on a scale from 1 to 10. Well, okay, the obvious answer is 1 to 10 babas, right? But is there something more creative we can come up with for that?
You have the baba command, you have the is command, and you have commands 1 through 10. And the score will be determined.
Okay.
So Baba is 1 is worst, Baba is 10 is best.
All right, so we have to answer it in that way. It's got to, whatever number you choose is Baba is. All right. I like that. I dig it. Okay, so Chowder, what is Baba on a scale from 1 to 10?
I would say Baba is 9 because I think we pretty much just went over it in the rest of the podcast. It's just a simple mind-bender puzzle game that, like, is simple to understand, hard to master. Just perfect.
Nice. All right, yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards Baba is like 7 for me, just because like I definitely enjoy the game for what it is, but what it is it's getting to a point where I'm not as willing to be as forgiving of it, because like every time I get a level, it's just like so frustrating. It's like definitely a rush when I figure it out, but like it's still, you know, like it's not the kind of game that I would like if I decided I no longer wanted to play this game, I don't think in a year or two I would miss it at all, you know what I mean? But like when I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, I'm into it, you know what I mean? So it's sort of like yeah, I could take it or leave it, but I definitely enjoy like the idea of it. And I think there's a lot of levels are really clever.
Yeah, like I play the game in bits, like whenever I'm bored and have nothing to do, and it's like I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, okay, let's just put up Baba with you, get a couple of puzzles done, and then walk out. And it's just a good pick up, play, put down kind of game.
It definitely does not function very well as like the game that I want to be playing all day or whatever when I have nothing else to do. It's not, yeah. But yeah, it's still pretty good. I like it a lot. Alright, I think that's going to wrap it up for us today, folks. A fucking simple little episode for the month, but just a nice breath of air, I would think. I'd say definitely go check out Baba Is You. It's a good time. But thank you for listening to the Common Geeking program. Again, I have been your host, Jeff Leavitt, and you can find me, I've got a YouTube that I barely upload to. I've got an Instagram that I barely upload to. Things I wish existed with a dot between each word is the Instagram. I've got a YouTube channel that I actually do upload to that has like toy review stuff like that. So if that is at all your niche, then go for it. That's Alchemist Prime Reviews. And if not, I do not blame you. And again, I've been joined by Taeemul Chowdhury. Chowder, do you have anything you want to throw out there?
Hi. I got a Twitter at Taeemul Chowdhury. You can check my stuff out there. Otherwise, Chowder is you, and Chowder is win.
Chowder is win. That's very satisfying whenever you can move the text to make Baba is win, and you just win automatically.
Yeah, but you have to have Baba's you activated at the same time, so
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you just have, if you've got a two ises and the win and you block, then you can just move it around. It's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Our next episode, normal episode, we're going to have a briefing program on the first Friday of the month, and then we'll have another Common Geeking program on the third Friday of the month, which, if I'm correct, is August 21st, I think. That sounds right. So that'll be in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure to tune in for that Friday, August 21st. And anyway, thank you for listening, subscribing, sharing, and everything you do. And we will talk to you next month.
Ciao.
Der. Chow is der.
The Common Geeking program is hosted by Jeff Leavitt, joined this episode by Taeemul Chowdhury. This episode is sponsored by masks again. Please wear them so that we can get out of this pandemic earlier. The podcast is created and produced by Colin, Ketchen, and Jeff Leavitt, and features original music by Colin Ketchen. This episode was edited by me, Taeemul Chowdhury. We'd love for you to stay engaged with us on social media at Geeking Program, or by using hashtag CGP. If you want to know more about us and all of our other projects, head to commongeekingprogram.com. Stay in touch, stay tuned, and as always, thank you for listening to this podcast. Ciao!
Hey,
Shall we?
Are you ready to go? Let's go do a goddamn podcast. I'm sorry, I've actually had that song stuck in my head all week now.
What the fuck song is that?
From Brand New Animal, the open theme song to Brand New Animal. Yeah.
Brand New Animal? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
I thought it was like fucking beastonucleic acid or some shit.
I mean, that's the thing in the show, but it's supposed to stand for Brand New Animal, yeah.